Hello and welcome to the Hub Podcast. My name is Eric Berger, Director of Marketing for Better Good, the maker of VolunteerHub. And today I'm really excited to be joined by Mark W. Smith, CVA, and Volunteer Coordination Specialist for the City and County of Broomfield. The City and County of Broomfield has been a VolunteerHub client for several years, and I'm really excited to have this conversation to learn more about how they're using VolunteerHub to help coordinate their many departments, programs, and events. Hey, Mark, how are you today?
Good. How are you, Eric?
I'm good. Thank you for taking the time to join me on this conversation, and I look forward to finally learning more about the City and County of Broomfield and how you guys are using VolunteerHub within your organization.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time as well.
To just jump right in and get started, can you tell me a little bit about the City and County of Broomfield and how volunteers fit into your organization?
Oh, sure, you bet. They fit in a lot of ways for us. We're a small city and county outside of Denver, and we have about 75,000 residents, and we're kind of like a mini Mayberry. So, our residents support a lot of the different programs that we have.
And as far as programs, can you dig in a little deeper and share some of those programs with me?
Absolutely. So I think some of the ones that are really important for us that impact the community, of course, are our recreation coaches. We have over 2,000 youth that have a coach that work with them throughout the season, whether it be the fall or the spring. We, of course, have some incredible folks that do work in our victim advocate program. Those are volunteers who are on call for 12-hour shifts. We have victim advocates 365 days a year available for the public during crisis and emergency situations. And those are volunteers out there making that happen, committing deeply to their community, right? We've got folks delivering Meals on Wheels, folks helping at the senior center, a lot of different amazing things going on.
And how many volunteers do you work with on an annual basis?
So we have just a little under 1,000 volunteers across all of our platforms and all of our programs. We have over 120 different position descriptions available for volunteers to get involved with the City and County of Broomfield.
Awesome. And can you kind of walk me through your role as a volunteer coordination specialist and how volunteer management is structured across the city and county today?
Sure. So as the volunteer coordination specialist, I essentially am the onboarding person for all of the folks that come to the City and County of Broomfield. So I will be their first point of contact. So essentially, folks will fill out either an application on VolunteerHub or they'll find us through our website. And then from there, we'll either process a background check, we'll find out more information. One of the beautiful parts about the platform at VolunteerHub is that we have the ability to see where their interests are and to be able to help them find those opportunities accordingly, right? And so then once they've finished doing the onboarding part, I take them and then I connect them with the appropriate coordinator or the person that's in charge of that program within that department.
And I've heard through our client success manager that you actually had experience with VolunteerHub before coming to the City and County of Broomfield. Can you share how that experience shaped your expectations when you came into this role?
Oh, you bet. I think that was one of the nice things is because I had worked with that platform pretty extensively. I'd chosen that platform actually for the last location that I worked at. I was at a nutrition organization for about 10 years, and we were looking for a platform that would be able to help us with a lot of different problems, right? And then once we chose VolunteerHub, that kind of solved all of those issues for us. So moving into this role here at the City and County of Broomfield, I was able to understand what that platform could do for us from the beginning and why it was integral to help several of the departments that maybe didn't understand how that platform worked as well as I did, to get them to understand that that was going to be a time saver and an accountability for us as well. I think one of the things that we find are challenging for the staff are keeping track of all of the 120 position descriptions and all the details. And to have to look that up every time is really hard, but having a platform that had all that information in it has made a big difference.
Yeah, I 100% agree that having one central system is obviously extremely important. So when you came to the city and county of Broomfield, were they using Volunteer Hub, or what was the process like when you came in?
So they had VolunteerHub, but they'd only had it for a couple of years.
Okay.
They had a new employee that got it lined up, and then we had an exceptional employee who still works there, who was kind of overseeing it until I was hired on board. So the basics were in place, but I think it was having the knowledge of some of the pieces I used before that helped us really elevate it right away.
Yeah, and with just two full-time staff supporting volunteer operations across Broomfield, how important is having a system that departments can rely on without a lot of hands-on oversight?
So yeah, now we actually have three. Wow. Right. But I think it's critical, if you think about it, to have a structure in place that, again, that you don't have to redefine all that. If you tried to figure out how to do all that through paper, which is how it was done before in the past, and I worked for organizations that did it that way, right? You've got the paper forms, and you've got the paper signatures on the waivers, and you've got the paper signups, and that of course is a much more clunkier system than it needs to be these days. And so allowing staff to have the ability to put that information in to build their own events when it works for them, right? Whether they're on a timeline, whether they're training other staff, whether they're working with volunteers, they aren't bound by any of those other sets of rules, right? They can create those events. They can have me check them. We can sign up waivers. Like, there's so many details in each one of those position descriptions we want to get right. And to remember all that would be impossible.
And I've also heard that you helped migrate the police department onto Volunteer Hub. Can you walk me through what that process looked like and how things changed once they made that switch?
You bet, Eric. So our police department is a great group of folks, and they work with volunteers in a lot of different capacities. And what they were doing is that a volunteer would fill out their own application, our police department application, and then someone in our investigations department would then need to process the application. They would need to process the background check. They would run some other things that they do for that particular person. And then when they got time, they'd have them fill out a supplemental application. And then from there, it usually could be 2 months, unfortunately, for some of the folks to get onboarded. And so being able to bring them and show them what Volunteer Hub could do for us, how it streamlined the entire process. Often I'm the one telling them they have volunteers as opposed to them reaching out to me. So now folks can find us immediately through, again, that website or through Volunteer Hub. If they're interested in the police department, we have some supplemental questions that are specific to that position that we can ask. So being able to tailor those questions to the position are so helpful. Like, I already know what they want to do. I already know who they've connected with. So it eliminates a lot of the back and forth of those questions. And then we can get them processed properly. We found that saved a ton of staff time. So now I automate the background check and the whole entire process of getting them the information with the volunteer ready to go, usually in less than 5 days. So they don't have to do any of that check when it works for them. They've got a volunteer ready to go who's ready to be trained.
I love that. And I'm sure it also improves the experience for the volunteer being able to quickly kind of get through that process and start volunteering their time.
Eric, you make a really good point. I think probably one of the most important things that folks who work in volunteer engagement want to do is to give that quality experience to that person, right? To every volunteer feels like they're needed, they're wanted, they're valued. That matters. And that matters to volunteer engagement professionals as well. So for every volunteer that comes on board, we want them to feel like this is a good place to be.
And you mentioned workflows, and I know that's an awesome functionality of Volunteer Hub. How has the automation changed the way you manage things day to day?
Okay, wow, workflows. This one is a great one for us. So when I first came on board, I've been there about 2.5 years. We were getting ready to recruit all of our boards and commissions. And so we have a process in place. Things are ready to go. I saw how it was set up. It looked like it was going to work fine. One of the things that we were able to do through learning some things, of course, through your team, was that if we automated one of those workflows for us, and that would be that any volunteer who visited the boards and commissions landing page in VolunteerHub, essentially looking for more information, would then go into a special user group. That allowed me to be able to reach out to them with the correct information on how to actually apply for that board or commission. We didn't have to guess at who was looking at the information. And we found that about 80% of these folks had actually wanted to apply for the boards and commissions. So being able to see that they had kind of a touch point with that, and then to be able to look at their profile, and then just to be able to connect with them and get them the correct information seemed to just be a game changer. Like nobody fell through the cracks. And that was really important, especially when you're applying for a position like a board or commission. We wouldn't want to ever drop any volunteer. But the last thing I need to hear is from the mayor. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And I know one feature that often surprises coordinators regarding value with VolunteerHub is the reminder emails. So why are the reminder emails such a game changer for teams that are already stretched thin?
Eric, I think for the automation, I think there's a lot of things, including those reminder emails. I would say one of the game changers for that is that you can automatically set when that goes out to folks. So let's say that we have, I'll use our boards and commissions again. Let's say their meeting is on every Wednesday night. They can have set these automatic reminders on to go out on Monday for folks. Hey, don't forget, you got to vote by Tuesday. Hey, don't forget, here's the link to all the documents that we have. Hey, don't forget, we're meeting in person to discuss this item, right? And so it sets up that automation so that when you get to Wednesday, you aren't going, oh no, I forgot to email everybody. And it sets it up with every single one of them. So having that ability to choose how far in advance you want to connect with somebody and remind them, it also allows the volunteer then to go, oh, I have a reminder. And if by chance I'm unavailable, I just have to click this one button and I'm done. Like it's so simple for them to be able to complete the process. And then like there isn't this limbo of folks being held out there. Like, are they coming or aren't they coming? Like we give them a reminder. I also think some of the other automations that are really critical are those waivers. We have several different waivers that we need to use. So within those automations of being able to have youth get their waiver signed, literally they can sign up for a shift in the afternoon. By the time you come in the next morning, their waivers are signed, right? As opposed to coming in and going, add that to my list today when they all show up, right? And then some of the things like the thank you. In our thank yous, we give people the link to how to report their hours, how to get their hours put right back in. We find that to be really effective. Like as soon as they see it, they click that link and they're done. And so that just saves all the automation on both sides.
Yeah, I think for someone like me who volunteers fairly frequently, like the reminder email, it's such a it's a small feature, but volunteers are busy. So getting a reminder and remembering that you have that obligation is huge. So I definitely value those reminder emails and the thank you emails, like you said, just to be appreciated for giving is important. And I know you have use cases like library, senior services, victim services, and even outdoor events like Earth Day. How valuable is it to have flexible check-in options through VolunteerHub?
I think the check-ins are amazing. One other thing on the emails, I think, Eric, that matters is that folks, like you said, are really busy, and often they can sign up for months in advance, and so they might not realize that they signed up for that Wednesday event. And so that takes the guesswork out of all of that for you, right?
For sure, yeah, 100%.
Now for the kiosks, wow, this is amazing for us. It's brand new in our library as of within the last month at 4 new locations. So we're very excited to be able to have those kiosks. It allows a whole lot of clarity for the volunteers, right? They can find, it's really easy for them to be able to sign in. They know they list their shift for that day. They can get it taken care of. Their hours get reported. There's kind of this ownership that they can take over that they didn't have in the library before. We had been using it at the senior services, and it was very effective with our Meals on Wheels drivers, with our folks working in our Lakeshore Cafe, and we've seen great success with that. So It's nice to have that integrated into the library because it will streamline their function of reporting. I know that hours are underreported, and yet we're not that, like, we're going to report whatever the volunteer reports, right? And so this will help us to get a much more accurate picture and description of what our volunteers are doing.
Yeah, and I think that's a good lead off into the next question, which is what's been your experience with the reporting functionality in Volunteer Hub?
Oh, I think, you know what, there's so many features in that reporting. I would say that's I continue to get better as I go. But I think some of the things it allows us to do is it allows us to find out how many different positions were filled each month, right? How many different ones were offered? How many youth do we have in our system? What is the difference between the ones we have for someone who's 14 and someone who's 18, right? To be able to use those reports to pull how many hours has somebody done? One of the things that one of our coordinators is looking into is, are the shifts accurate with the time that we're giving them? Are they running over their shifts? Are they running under on their shifts? Do we need to have a conversation with how come that person's always working a 4-hour shift when it says 3 hours? Is there something on our end we need to fix? Is there something that the volunteer just like staying and they have other duties that are taken care of? So it kind of helps us see maybe what's happening within a program where it just might be happening organically.
Yeah, I completely understand that. And I think for us, the experience we deliver our clients is huge. So I wanted to ask you about your experience with our implementation support team. What has that been like?
Exceptional. You have such an incredible team there at Volunteer Hub. They are so knowledgeable. I often joke that as soon after I submit a ticket, it's usually within 60 seconds I get a response. It's rather quick. And I would say that for Jennifer, I think she's your main tech person there. Her knowledge is exceptional, right? She understands. She almost knows what I'm going to ask before I ask it. I think not that she knows me personally, but I think she gets to know my style and maybe where my challenges might be from time to time. One of the things that we had done is we were looking this year to onboard our boards and commissions, which we just finished up with in February. And I reached out to her about the process that we had used 2 years ago when I first started. And she had some wonderful recommendations about how to just make it a little easier. And not one single issue happened with that. And I can tell you that every single time that we submit a ticket or reach out, if there's a conversation that needs to happen about what is it happening with this, or oh, is this flowing through? We get back to her right away, and she always can solve that for us. And I know she has great support with Matthew too. Matthew's been there to support us if we've had things that go deeper or if we have questions. And I think one of my favorite things is that you guys, like anything that we have that maybe isn't working, we just let you know. And your team then puts it on their thinking caps, right? And so then often somewhere soon down the road, there's a fix or a change to something that was so minor, but it's like, oh, wow, look how easy that is. And so I think you're always listening, and they're very considerate, very kind. And I love that Kaylin reaches out every year as well to see if there's any issues, if we want to have a meeting. Really very professional folks doing a great job over there.
That's amazing feedback. And I'm sure you've been approached by other volunteer management platforms over the years. So what makes Volunteer Hub the system you've chosen to stick with?
Oh, I think there's multiple reasons for us. I think one of them, a great positive reason for us, is that we see really great user feedback from our volunteers. New volunteers come in, have no issues, not issues at all. We have an awful lot of seniors that are in our system as well, who are really important to us. And so they're able to use the system. There's no issues with them signing up. There's no issues with them filling out their waiver. There's no issues with them reporting their hours. I think so having that system that works well is a key for us. It's a foundational concept for us. I think we've got, of course, our policy and procedure manual, which I only finished up in 2024. So that's pretty important. And then, of course, having Volunteer Hub is kind of our foundation, right? Again, if you had to keep track of what age every single one of these job descriptions was at, or if it was all paper, if they had to go to the library to sign up, and then I have to go over to the senior center to sign up, right? Or if I have to go through have fill out this application, which leads over to this application, where it's all kind of streamlined now into this really beautiful product for folks. So I think having the volunteers be able to use it, having the staff be able to use it, having the folks at VolunteerHub listening to any comments we have, having exceptional customer service, and the cost, I think, is pretty negligible when you look at the amount of what we get back on it.
Yeah, the value of the volunteer hour is probably huge.
Oh, right. Yeah, the value of the volunteer hours, the value of the staff time. Staff really, really love when they can pull up an event that happened last year and copy it, and they're done. They make a few edits and it's all done, ready to go. They can email the folks that volunteered for that last time. Like it's meant to be what it is.
And I just have a couple more questions, and
Oh, sure.
one is based on your experience with VolunteerHub, over the last several years. What has been the most meaningful improvement that you've seen since fully adopting VolunteerHub, whether it's time saved, smoother onboarding, or any other issue that the solution has solved for you?
I would say a lot of it comes in the automation, the things I was talking about, right? Having our youth waivers connected to our youth events, having our rec waiver connected to our rec events, having our PD waiver connected to our PD events, right? Being able to not have somebody who's 12 years old sign up to be a victim advocate, right? Which, like, if it was just an application form, you're not going to be able to help them understand and see some of those things. I think so. Again, and then having the reminder emails, like that's been huge for so many staff that they don't have to worry about that particular piece, and that they get notified if somebody cancels their shift, right? It isn't again. You're going, I got to go find that Google document somewhere and see. Oh, looks like Betty canceled. Oh no! Now what do I do? I've only got an hour left before the event happens. So just seeing how all those flow together, it kind of becomes. I kind of joke because some of our staff go, well, when I'm in there, it's just so fast. I don't know that I'm using it right. It's like, well, not only are you using it right, but that's the purpose, is you're not supposed to be bogged it down by the system.
Yeah, and I think sounds like it's safe to say that based on our short conversation, you think you're getting a return on investment from VolunteerHub.
Oh, I would definitely say so. There is no way we could do the job we do without having that automation and all that information. Everything from, like I said, the position descriptions to the age, to being able to have different levels for staff with their user permissions, right? There's only 2 of us that are super users to kind of help control any of the things that need to be done, but then people can go in and create their own events. Our open space and trails team, they have over 50 events every single year. And without the volunteers being able to sign up through VolunteerHub and then attend the trainings that they've got and then get out there and do those community events, they couldn't do the work that they do, right? And again, trying to do all that through paperwork, hard. Like, imagine trying to repost that every single time, where you just literally can go in, I joke because I tell people I can do that for you in like less than 60 seconds. If you want to time me, I'll show you how fast I can get your event up and ready for next year.
Well, with only 3 staff on hand in the volunteer program, it sounds like you guys are rock stars there too, managing that many events and such.
Yeah, so the way it works is a little different, Eric. So yeah, I'm the onboarding specialist, and then we have a full-time person in our senior services and a full-time person in our library. But for every other department, they have a lot of other duties that don't even have volunteer coordinator in the title, but they wear it proudly and they take such great care of our volunteers.
Yeah, and I like to wrap up these interviews not talking about the software. I like to talk about the organizations that are using the software. So for anyone who's listening to this and they want to give back locally and they're in your area of Colorado, what's the best way for them to get involved with volunteering with the city and county of Broomfield?
Yeah, so I think if you're interested in being a volunteer at the city and county of Broomfield, we have opportunities, everything from one-time events like seed planting to working, of course, as a rec coach, maybe delivering meals, helping folks shovel snow. The best place to start is at our website at broomfield.org. where you can search under the volunteer opportunities. It lists everything by department and what's available. It has a lot of great information in there. And then, of course, it takes you over to VolunteerHub, is where you actually complete the application and then follow through with the steps. So our website is a great resource for folks. We keep that updated for not only for our folks, but also for our partners as well, like the Broomfield Community Foundation. And Eric, we're lucky that we have team opportunities in Broomfield as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think that was my last question. And again, thank you so much for your time, Mark. And thank you for telling me more about the city and county of Broomfield and all the programs that you guys are managing there. And for anyone listening to this podcast, thanks for joining us. And I'm just excited to hear how excited you are about Volunteer Hub. That makes these interviews so much more worthwhile. So thank you again for taking time out of your busy day to share your experience.
Yeah, I felt it was important because it really has changed the way we operate at the city and county of Broomfield. And I think it's important to be able to share that. So thank you, Eric, for your time as well.